Hello, everybody, and welcome to Capsule Cast week number 10. I'm your host, DoorGuard, and this week I have my co host, Oasis.
Heyo.
He is the coach of Namek. If you guys haven't seen a Capsule Cast before, we'll get plenty of input from him. And our special guest this week, coach of Team Kaiju, previously known as the Saiyans, ColeTrain.
Hello, how you guys doing?
Alrighty then, it should be an exciting week. Lots of fun matches happen, including a few divisionals. Are you guys ready to get going into match number one?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Let's kick it off.
All right, this is Oasis's favorite match of the week, his own team's match. So we have Budokai versus Namek. I think we all voted for the most part on Namek to win this. It might have been a 2-1 in the last Capsule Cast many weeks ago, but surprisingly, Budokai came out on top. But it was a really good fight. So starting off with a very melee-heavy matchup of Kid Goku versus Tambourine. Kid Goku being a previous elite member, and Tam coming off a near elite weeks back. It really was surprising when Kid took him out with a good health lead, but does get finished off by the N Piccolo coming in. Nam and him both tag when they're about one bar. Early Goku finishes off N Piccolo. King Piccolo comes in, does some shenanigans, leaves at one bar. Nail finishes off early Goku, but Cyborg Tao was able to finish off both Nail and King Piccolo's last bar. So, pretty back and forth, some tags, lots of stuff. Probably the biggest surprise this week, early Goku, the problem child of Budokai, on a new defense plus 3 pseudo key spam build, coming out and really doing some work. I know Nuova was out, and that's kind of Namek's trump card, and late Piccolo and King Piccolo have been up and down quite a bit this season, but Nail and Tambourine still doing their stuff. So quite an entertaining match, but when it came down to the end, Budokai just managed to pull out the win. So, Oasis, what did you think of the match?
Yo, I thought it was horrendous. Not gonna lie. I mean, sure, as it is my own match and I lost, I do think it's fair to say it. But I didn't think it'd be this bad because I took the liberty of putting late Piccolo and King Piccolo on an entirely new build in preparation for match for Earth Defenders. And as you can see, that didn't pan out too well because late Piccolo did, underperform doing 36k. He typically is doing, 45, 50k. And King Piccolo did less than 20. And that's not going to fly.
Yikes.
Exactly. Especially when you have probably the most improved player of this week, early Goku, firing off a ton of Kamehameha, netting him 90k damage. I have to say that build that they have on him, as unexpected as not, well, yes, as unexpected as it is, that's a punch because the best B2 in the game, the Kamehameha, was fairly used and just spurted all over this fight. I mean, I will admit, like, the one thing this whole week, the theme was Kamehamehas are broken because of the fact that they're chargeable, because of the fact that they stun when the enemy gets close to you, and because of how AIs work, where if you throw it out, likelihood is you're either going to get hit by it, you're going to dodge it, or you're going to run into it because of the speed of the Kamehameha, which is something to look into for later seasons. Uh, I will admit, I did not expect Tambourine to lose to Kid Goku. Kid Goku had an elite performance 2-3 weeks ago. Say,
Yeah, very recent.
there we go. But I was definitely sure that between these two DB characters, Tambourine was the better of the two because of the fact that Tambourine was going to scale further into the match with the serious. Goku only had, quick fast attack. But I was wrong. Goku takes it and proves to me that, quicker melee and eternal life make for a better meleeer and, slow melee, but melee that increases over time.
Right.
Right. The thing that surprised me the most though was Nom only 27k. My biggest worry was Nom and Cyborg Tao. Cyborg Tao, especially because of the fact that he's been on fire as of recent days. No, maybe not so much. Sure, he got blown up by not the Goans, but hybrids, or 2 weeks ago. But still, I was expecting him to dominate Tambourine if he won, dominate Late Piccolo to an extent if they fought, then maybe Tossa would nail. But that didn't happen. That he went even with Late Piccolo, which makes me happy. Also sad because early Goku did what he did. Overall, great job by Budokai with their preparation and their builds, and taking me by surprise. And I have learned not to underestimate anyone anymore.
Never underestimate anybody in this league.
Apparently so. Apparently so.
Agreed, but do have to keep some good eyes. Tambourine technically still did his 40, and Nail still showing to be a very consistent member for you guys. So both teams obviously still very much in it. Budokai topping their league off that, and Namek still being in second. So certainly no issues with playoffs off this match alone, but certainly something to keep an eye on. So ColeTrain, what do you think of the first match this week?
Well, I thought that, you know, Namek. I picked Namek to win this match. I thought that they were going to beat Budokai and like pretty much just go through them and do what they got to do. But the thing that surprised me was how much low damage that King Piccolo and Late Piccolo did. Because I thought that those if those two were their normal selves, they could have counteracted what early Goku did, and Namek could have still won this match. But they weren't them normal selves. Early Goku just surprised me, like coming out of nowhere. Nam not being Nam, and they still won, which is kind of crazy. You know, that surprised me. And I gotta give credit where credit is due. Budokai came out. They had the perfect plan to counteract Namek, and they knew that they didn't have to. Well, the thing that helped them was Nova not being there too, and they were well prepared for this, and they came out and did their thing. You know.
Yeah,
I got a question. Why did y'all sit Nova this week?
Because divisional next week, for one.
Okay.
And then two, like I was saying earlier, I underestimated Budokai because I didn't think I'd need Nuova. Because if Late Piccolo did what he was supposed to do,
Right.
you wouldn't need him.
Right.
Goku has been garbage up until this point, so I was assured that this was going to be a 3-man fight.
Yeah. I was
And-
stunned that he just came out of nowhere.
Right? Like I was expecting him to do less than 30. I was expecting him to be on a Super Plus build and not do anything. I was
he
Yeah,
like,
did
but
get
okay.
an ult on his defense build, so it just goes
Right.
to show.
Yeah, he was on the roll. He was on the roll. If I'm Budokai, I would whatever y'all did this week, I would continue doing it because apparently it worked.
Have they faced Booze yet?
Well, that's next week.
That's next week.
Yo, they could do the same thing they did here to them.
Oh my god.
That'd be kind of nice.
Well,
That'd be
arguably, we
great.
are running our best lineup next week, so we will see. We are treating all of our
DoorGuard,
final
how about-
matches as death grip matches.
I
Order, how about you
that's
don't?
smart because think about it. Look how close the league is right now, in all the divisions except like one of them. Every division is really really close.
Mhm.
So it's best to run your best lineups towards the end.
I mean, just run them all easy.
Yep.
Well, do you guys have
But
any final remarks? Or do you guys want to get moving on to match number 2?
the only thing is, Namek's going to be better next week. I know they will, because obviously it's that divisional, and you would love to win that divisional. And
We
I'm-
haven't won a single
I'm-
divisional yet. What you mean? There's Earth Defenders, but still.
Hey.
I mean, well, y'all might get y'all. Well, I'm gonna tell y'all who's gonna win later on in the predictions, but
Yeah.
y'all might get y'all first win. But my thing is, I'm gonna pay attention to Budokai to see if early Goku can still keep up this performance as they head into the playoffs. Because if he can continue doing that, and then you have somebody else step up like Nam, man, this team's gonna be hard to beat in the playoffs. So that's my
Agreed.
closing remarks.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, you guys ready to move on to match number 2 then?
Yes, sir.
course.
Alrighty then, let's get on to match number 2, Hybrids versus Muscle. So, starting off, congratulations Hybrids on getting an elite member. You've come very close on multiple occasions this season, and you've finally got it with Ultimate Gohan. Unfortunately, it was on a losing effort as Muscle won the match this week. Funny enough, damage-wise, Hybrids did more. So, very interesting start, Roshi versus Sword
Gosh.
Trunks. You could say a battle of the memes to begin this week. Always fun to see that. The Sword versus the Roche. And
Love
both
it.
actually tagged at 1 bar. Foresight on this match is there was a lot of tags. Lots of people tagged. First Blood did not happen for a long time
I
because
know.
Future Gohan 13 came in, also both tagged when they got to their final bar. Ultimate finally got the First Blood by taking out Roshi, forcing Bojack to tag at 2 bars. Finishing Android 13 and then finally tagging at his last bar, being near elite at this point. Super Trunks comes in though and says, I ain't having none of that. Kind of obliterates Teen Gohan, giving Teen Gohan the worst week of his career probably at this point, and even finishes off the last bar of Sword Trunks and then tags. Ult comes in, finishes off Bojack, and surprisingly, we had a 1 bar Ultimate Gohan versus 1 bar Super Trunks, and Super Trunks beat him with only half a bar left. So about as close as a match, literally came down to the last hair. Great effort by both teams. Again, congratulations to Hybrids for having Ultimate Gohan go Elite. But of all the characters you expected to drop the ball, Teen Gohan, certainly not the one you'd have up there. Definitely would have seen Sword Trunks or maybe even Future drop the ball, but Teen Gohan just coming out and doing absolutely nothing against the mainstay of Team Muscle must have been frustrating. So, Oasis, what do you think of this intense match number 2?
The words of Macho. Bruh. How you gonna lose like this? Come on, just first and foremost, how is Team Gohan doing less damage than Sword Trunks? How? Explain this to me. Who?
He
Future
just wants
Gohan
Namek to do better, you know?
Oh my! Don't even get me started on that point. But whatever. 2, Future Gohan, not just slapping people around the map like he usually does. Something must have happened in the locker room to stop Future Gohan from doing that, because he gets on the field literally for every week he's been in. He's on the field, starts doing ping pong combos, throws a B2, max power, does it all over again, and just keeps on going. This week, tried that, didn't do a ping pong combo, missed the B2, tried again, and nothing stuck. So he just went down doing less than 40k. And that's what shocked me the most, personally. And at the end of the day, the tag game on both of these teams was phenomenal. And it's probably why Muscle won at the end of the day, because how many tags did Muscle have? Like
It was like 6?
6?
6 or 7. Yeah, it was
that's
it
what
was a lot of tags.
I know Gohan's the hybrids had a similar amount of tags.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, just how you gonna tell me you go elite and still lose? That's all. That's where I feel. For the hybrids, how you gonna go elite and still lose?
And you could turn that right into my point. He went elite and he still lost. Let that sink in. They went elite and still took the L, which is absolutely insane. Teen Gohan dropping the ball, Future Gohan not being Future Gohan. You're not gonna win like that. If that keeps up at all.
There's no teamwork here. Outside of the tags, Ultimate Gohan was trying to carry this whole match by himself. He almost did it, which tells you how scary the Gohans are. Yeah, the hybrids. I swear, I will not make that mistake again.
Well, not
It
trying to harp.
tells you if it.
Just saying, we don't
Sorry.
need to harp too much on hybrids because this certainly was not a weak lineup by any regards. Kid Gohan being out is certainly a good member, but he probably would have done the same damage as Sword Trunks. So, got to give some credit to Muscle. I mean, Super Trunks shut down Teen Gohan.
Word.
Of all the things you'd want to have happen, that is what you'd want to have happen. Because arguably, Bojack almost did a similar thing to Teen Gohan by just doing nothing. So it just came down to literally just of the people to get shut down, Teen Gohan versus Super Trunks, probably a matchup both team wanted. Because if their side wins, they're guaranteed the win. And I mean, that basically is what happened.
Pretty
Fair,
much.
fair.
Pretty much
My,
that's basically what happened.
I mean, my only point is that it's so scary to think that how if hybrids can have just one character, essentially carry them to the closest of margins, and essentially like three out of the five characters can do that. Imagine, well, we don't even need to imagine. We've already seen it when four out of the four show up and have that potential. That's all I'm saying. Hybrids are scary. Muscle with the fantastic teamwork, fantastic tag. For Trunks showing up, shutting down King Gohan, and doing what needed to be done not to win. I will say that Master Roshi did fantastic, and I'm proud of him. And
Originator of Kamehameha, what can you say?
I mean,
OG Kamehameha.
Yeah.
This week was the week of Kamehamehas. Everybody was hitting Kamehamehas for some reason.
I mean, if you had, I think quite literally, if you had Kamehameha, you won.
Yeah.
I don't know. Gohans
Well,
have some Kamehamehas
well,
as well, but
yeah, except Gohan's.
the
No,
one
or
Gohan
hybrids.
that spams
Yeah.
Kamehameha did not actually do
They
that this
didn't.
week.
He didn't spam anything. He didn't get a single ult off. Did he hit a B2?
Teen, I do not believe so. I'm pretty sure he threw out like
Yeah.
2 and missed, so
Yeah, he just got he just got destroyed.
Ultimate.
it's just a bad week.
And they're
Oh no,
not
he
gonna
hit
win.
1B2, I think. I mean,
They're not
they'll
gonna
His
be
win
highest
if,
combo was
you know,
4K. I'm pretty sure
you
if he
can't
hit a B2
do
on a
out no
Super
B2.
plus 2, it would have done at least 8.
true. True.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it's no coincidence that the only person with Kamehameha did really well on hybrids. That's all
Yeah.
I'm saying.
And
Kamehameha busted
yep, and when elite.
and went elite.
Well, did you guys have any final remarks on match 2, or you guys ready to get on to match number 3?
I'm ready for match 3.
I only have one final comment: is that I can't wait to see what Muscle does next week.
Yeah, they have Broly coming back. That'll be a fun time. Good
Oh
luck
boy,
to
I'm
their
excited for that.
opponents.
Mhm.
On to match number 3, we have Kaiju with our special guest today. This will be a fun one versus Androids. First divisional of the week. I believe we had 2. Certainly was a fun match. Both teams used plenty of boost. Kaiju's boost, they had an attack +1 on Bardock, a super +1 on Scouter, a Kibito secret art on Nappa, and a late energy on King Vegeta. Androids put an attack +1 on Android 16 and Cell. So to start off, we have attack +3 Android 16 versus attack +3 Bardock. I don't know how many haymakers you expected, but we got them all just about. An incredible
did.
start to the match. 16
My
taking
stress was
Bardock to
off
his
doing
last
that.
bar. Bardock taking him to his last bar. Finally tagging out. Nappa coming in, doing a Kappa Nappa, finishing off 16. Nappa then tagging when he gets down to 1 bar. Scouter coming in, and his signature move this week was come in and with Savior and Super +3, hit a 13k garlic gun or Gallic gun and kind of tagging after. So he did that. And Cell came in, and Cell nearly dragged his team out of the gutter, pulling his best elite near performance with 94k. And really doing work on multiple people, but just not quite finishing anybody off. Everybody just barely tagging out. And King Vegeta finally finishing Cell off. Super 17 comes in and does what he does best and blows up the map. But unfortunately for him, Destroyed Earth still has a moon. So it didn't really change much besides less ground for Akun to grab. And he wasn't here today.
Yeah.
We did get our first ape here with King transforming, but he dies almost immediately after and Super 17 tags. Bardock finishes off 17 when he's only on 1 bar. Probably the low light of the match. Poor 17 basically did nothing. He had one job, and if you ask Donut, and probably the reason he's not on today is due to 17's performance. Super 17 finally finishes
Yeah.
off Bardock, and Nappa comes in, transforms, and tags back out. So we have an ape in the background. Scouter comes in and pulls out his signature move, Savior 13,000 Super +3 Gallic Gun to finish the match. So, you know, honestly, can't say too much else outside of that for what happened. Bardock, it really came down to, as most people expected, to whose +3 started off the match. And Bardock seemed to have lost by having to tag at one bar with 16 at 2. But, I mean, Napa Kappa brought it back, and then Cell dragged a pretty intense lead, but unfortunately 17 just threw in the towel early and just didn't quite get much off. You could say maybe Destroyed Earth just kind of threw off his balance. He just didn't know what to do in all that void. But in the end, a great match by both squads. Lots of boosts, lots of fun. Keeping Kaiju, they are at the bottom of their division at this current moment, but they are basically tied to still be at it. And Android's still holding pretty hard up top. So let's get on to Oasis first. What did you think of this first divisional?
To start off my analysis, I will say, to me, I would like to make an addendum in your synopsis and saying Cell didn't drag androids out of the gutter. He gave him a big lead, huge lead. I wouldn't say they were in a gutter or a rut. When Cell came in, it's definitely the opposite. He created a divide that was huge. Up until Bardock came and closed the gap. I'm glad that Kaiju I finally decided to keep Bardock on Attack Plus. He should have been on since the start of the season, in my opinion. I mean, whatever.
You live and you learn. That's what
Yeah,
I
Live
say.
and you learn. This is true. This is very true.
his
I'm
one
glad that
his
the
1 week on Super, he did do like 50k. So we can't diss that build, but we can say
I
that
mean,
Melee might be
And,
a tad bit better.
yeah, melee might be the way to go. That's that's all I'm gonna say.
I guess we can say that the All-Star Games had a bunch of positives in terms of being a fun event and giving Kaiju the ideas to make Bardock good again.
Yes.
Scout Vegeta. ColeTrain, what's up, Scout Vegeta? This man used to be one of the scariest B2ers in the league.
I
Now
don't.
he's just. What's up
I
with
don't
him?
know what happened because we are giving him the bills that we used last year, and we're giving him the bills that worked in the test, but he's not performing. I don't know why. And he has super builds, but it's not supery. Apparently I think that we might have to find an AI that makes him shoot B2s out rapidly, because he shoots them out, but he shoots them out so slow and towards the end of his health. So it is pointless. And sometimes he misses. He's not shooting out enough. So yeah. I don't know
Gotcha.
why, but we are giving him super bills, but he's not performing for some reason. You know? And I am stunned that we actually won this match. I believed in us. I put the little tagline, "We believe." For this week, I said, "We got this. We're gonna make the playoffs." Because everybody's counting us out now. We're not gonna make the playoffs, but we're gonna make the playoffs. I believe that that's gonna happen. We're gonna shock the world and make the playoffs and make a run. But that's
You're
not
riding on
even.
Bardock's back. Yeah, sure. If you have Bardock's performance like this and keep him on this build, oh yeah, I believe it.
Yeah,
I jump on the hype train.
yeah.
Let's not forget that they nearly fixed Raditz the previous week. It's actually a little surprising to see Scouter with Raditz actually doing pretty well last time, and Scouter being a little iffy. So that would be a big question is
We were
what
saving.
decided that? What decided the battle of the losers here?
So what happened
Uh,
was we sat Raditz because we're saving him for later on, because we're really trying to make this playoff push, and we knew that we need somebody to step up. Bardock did great this week. But but to make the playoffs, it can't be just Bardock. Somebody else has to step up, and Raditz is that dude. Imagine Bardock and Raditz at the same time, and they
Oh
both
my god.
do what they've been doing the last few weeks. Ooh, yeah. So
Mm.
that's why we sat him, because we thought that Scouter was gonna maybe have a good week this week. Maybe if he got in there with the right person on the androids. I figured that they were gonna play 17 and not play 19 this week. So that's why I just threw Scott in there, because 17 has always been the problem for the android. So I thought Scott was gonna like expose him. So that was
Speaking of that,
our thinking with that. You know.
speaking of 17, actually, let me get DoorGuard's opinion on this. DoorGuard, what's your thoughts on 17? Android 17, regular 17, right now. Your thoughts?
I would say he is another one of the characters suffering from new league syndrome. We seem to have a few where maybe in the preseason they were doing what they were supposed to do, but for whatever reason, hitting the new league, the new stage, the new teams, they got a little stage fright. Because to be fair, like his build doesn't really change that much from preseason. And in preseason, it was whopping people. I should know he tested against Boojins almost weekly, and it was painful watching my boys die. So I
Yeah, he
know
was.
that there's
Yeah,
some
he
merit
was
to the
destroying
build he
y'all.
has here, but obviously something is just going awry. Locker room talk's not going right. I know Donut's hard threatening to replace him with Jarreau, and instead of getting reinvigorated to come out with passion, is maybe terrified at the proposition. So hard to say for sure, but I think they have the right idea. It's just getting
Do you ever
the
imagine
thing in
where
motion.
17 would be worse than 19?
I never thought in my years of watching this league that would have ever happened.
I would say there's
I'm
been
stunned at that.
a dynamic change. B2 builds seem to have. There's not as many people you see relying purely on B2s to carry them nowadays as maybe in previous leagues. It might be because
Hmm.
people like Spamion aren't around, but I would definitely say
Right.
like B2 builds have definitely been one of the crutches for teams. They certainly have their pop-offs, but their drop-offs are quite large. And I think
Right.
True,
that's
true.
pretty noticeable, hence why we moved Kid Buu onto a very defensive build. We could give him super, and if he hits, they'll be fantastic. But if they don't hit, now he's just got nothing. So
Nothing. So he has nothing to counteract if he's not hitting the B2s. And some people are not hitting B2s on B2 builds like you would expect from previous years. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's good countering. Maybe melee has been making that comeback again. And being the top thing that most teams use. 'Cause I know a lot of people are not using B2 builds. A
yeah,
lot.
Mm.
like
You know.
Nuova's one of the exceptions due to his B2s being one a charged one and the other one like a giant ball one, which are both a little
Hmm.
harder to react to. But he
Yeah.
certainly has his off weeks where they're not hitting, and Oasis can tell you his frustrations. So I
Uh,
think every
Yeah.
team has their issues, and I think it's just a dynamic change with the AI updates that we've been doing each season. So
Right.
I'm glad you
That.
mentioned New Wolf because, or I'm glad you mentioned this issue, really an issue, but I do believe that B2ers of the past were, like you were saying, were able to just get by spamming B2s because AI difficulty was definitely lower in comparison to what we have now, so people were hitting more. Perhaps maybe I have to go check that. But now definitely seems like in order for you to run a B2 build, your spammer also has to be good in the melee front as well. Like take Team Go on for example. He wouldn't be as good if he wasn't also excellent in the melee game, where he can stay up close, throw out Masenko, and then continue on with his combo. Same with Nuova. If he wasn't good up front versus like an attack plus 2 person, he would never be able to get his charge off to throw out B2. So I do think that dynamic of if you want a spammer, they have to be good, at least in both regards of offensive melee and spamming, to be useful in this league.
Exactly. Exactly. They have to be good at both. Like if they're not good at both, you're gonna have to find something else to use because they're not gonna do well. That's what I've been noticing from this season. But
yeah,
overall, I'm proud of my team. I'm so proud of us. We making that playoff push, and it's only gonna get more difficult from here because we have to win the majority of our matches to stay in the game, pretty much.
Yeah, and it certainly has been a rebuilding year. I know drastic change with the Turles drop off, but I think that
Yeah.
was a good one to make. He's been a consistent player, but to a degree a crutch because he kind of absorbs a few Pataras that maybe you'd like to
Yes,
move
he has.
elsewhere. And he kind of, as
Hmm.
we've seen, as we'll talk about later with Cinema, is still struggling to find his niche outside of EL Tank. So
Yeah.
it will be interesting to see how teams change. And obviously, Android's not expecting 19 to pop off as much as he did, but hey. Everybody's making their rounds. Namek dropping early Piccolo and getting Nuova has been a huge change. So there's a
Yeah, I
lot.
was stunned at that change. I was really stunned that Namek dropped early Piccolo. I never thought that they would have dropped him out of all of the
We're very
characters.
close to dropping Tambourine. I'll tell you
Yeah,
what.
it was certainly a matter of very small margins. But hey,
Ooh,
there's still a lot of variability, and with free agents coming back next season, who knows what changes will happen. So, you
yeah,
guys,
I'm looking forward to free agency because
yeah.
I think Kaiju's gonna find their next big star in free agency next year.
Well, you guys ready to move on to match number 4 then?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Alrighty then.
Ooh,
Match number 4, Bujins versus Resurrected Warriors. As you may see by the stats, Bujins did win, moving up to the top spot in the league, but only by one. Namek still nice and on our tail. Not a bad team to have behind us. So, another melee showdown to start with Super Boo versus Vegeta, and Vegeta said, nah, I didn't like that trash when it was canon, and took out Super Boo quite handily. Kid Buu comes in, and after throwing two ults, one of which Vegeta blocks, dies to the second one for 17k, and Kid Buu tags. Evil Boo ends up just using Kamehameha to peel Videl out of the match. 18 comes in and does the reverse Uno on Evil Boo, taking him out. Early Piccolo comes in and finishes off Kid Buu, and then Majin Buu comes in and finishes off the last bar into of early Piccolo and 18, giving Bujins the win. So overall, pretty back and forth match. I'd say everybody did what they were supposed to do. I know Videl didn't do super great, but she came in and she spammed B2s. She just kind of, with a rush B2 character, unfortunately, if the other character throws a beam, you're kind of hard to dodge it once you're in motion. So got a little rough, but hey, she technically did more than Super Boo, so take that with what you can. And you know, overall, I would say teams would say it's Resurrected Warriors aren't as strong, being 3-7, but I would say they are certainly a very talented squad, but they have a lot of growth. They're still trying to fill up
yes,
new team with new characters brought in from other teams that they have to figure out. Where maybe Android
right.
18 and Aider and Vegeta were good on their own teams back in the day, but now they're together and fighting for the same Pataras to a degree. So they've got some boots to fill coming into the league late into the game as they are, and I think they put up a fantastic fight today and this league so far. So excited to see what happens with them. So, Oasis, what do you think of match number 4 here?
I wasn't shocked. Let's say that. Start with that. I'm gonna need you to lose sometime within the next 3 weeks. Thanks. Uh, let's start with the positives. In Vegeta, fantastic on attack plus 2 versus Super Boo. That was a like his how dominant he was versus Super Boo. I haven't seen that since what was it? I want to say Ultimate Clone versus Late Piccolo, all that time ago. Or was it early? Whatever. Point is, and Vegeta on attack plus 2 is very good, and I hope they stick to it. Because him being able to throw out super energy wave volleys plus high damage melee was a very, very good starter. 2, Evil Boo does what Evil Boo does, or will do, throwing out, flame, his flame breath attack. I forgot what it's called,
Flame shower breath.
unfortunately. Thank you. Flame shower breath and Kamehamehas. Who knew? Does 63k as well. And then you have Kid Buu doing Kid Buu things, throwing out plant bursts, destroying the plant over and over, and Majin Buu being there, throwing out Kamehamehas. At the end of the day, it's Kamehameha week. What did we expect when the team literally has 3 Kamehamehas up their sleeve? versus Resurrected Warriors, who did try the form of 18, in the form of 18 and Vegeta, and Videl getting shut down like he did is unfortunate. I like the fact that they were trying to go for, say, a woman's build. Sure, different AI, same build, just really didn't pan out at all. Maybe switching it to Cell AI is still answer. Maybe they already have, and that didn't work out either. Regardless, we'll find something on Videl. I know that for sure. I mean, I can't say it's bad luck because once again, it's Spoojins, and all they have is Kamehamehas and Evil Boo. So, what can I say? To be expected from me, I guess.
Right. Um, I, you know, expected this. The Resurrected Warriors, they are a new team, so I'm not expecting them to like the world on fire. They got to figure out a lot of things. But as you can see here, some things are working and some things are not. But it's gonna take some time for them to reach that next level and get better. And Boojins are just too good. Everybody on Boojins is just very, very good and very, very well built. And this team, it is the best team in the league right now for a reason, because of how good they are and how good their builds are. You know, e- e- Everybody on this team is great. I was very, very impressed at Kid Buu. Kid Buu was Kid Buu again. And when Kid Buu's Kid Buu, they're hard to beat. Really, really hard to beat if Kid Buu's Kid Buu. And then everybody else on Bujins did what they had to do. I'm gonna make this bold prediction. I think Bujins, they might end the season with only 2 losses. I'm putting it out there right now. I don't
Some
think they
hard
lose again.
matches ahead, brother. You can't let any team down here.
I, I know that. I know that. But this is my prediction. They only gonna lose just 2 games. That's it. That's it. That's my prediction. And that's my takeaways.
I kind of have to agree with ColeTrain here, honestly, because like Boojins are the epitome of what we were just talking about earlier in terms of E2ers with great melee game. Kid Buu, Evil Buu, Majin Buu, even. Oh, sure, Super Buu, great melee game already because he's on attack +2, but that doesn't matter. Point is, and Maju, if you were in, point is, this team is full of people who are willing to spam their B2s, getting high damage there, but don't lose in the melee game. They don't
Right?
lose anyway. Their weakness, where's their weakness?
Clashes.
Because like teams,
Clash.
sure,
Clashes.
bruh, clashes aren't a sure thing. They're not sure. Okay, so if you don't have clashes,
Hey,
then
you
what are
asked
your
for
weaknesses?
weaknesses. I never said they were
This,
specific.
this is true. This is true. You got me there. But still, the fact that your entire team's composed of B2 spammers who are also are flipping around meleeers who are willing to spam their B2s at a high rate and can connect with them. It's
Yeah.
what makes your team so strong and devastating. I mean, what can we do against Evil Boot with Kamehameha, the best B2 in the league, Flame Shower Breath? You can't melee against him because he just blows on you, and you can't stay away from him because Kamehameha. And then the list goes on and on. That like is insane. To think of how much power, how much they're able to curb their weaknesses. I mean, in previous weeks, you see me go on and on about this. I'll cut it there. But just keep in mind, Boojins have a great shot at making it to the very end in the
Yeah.
off season because what can stop them? Sure, they have
Yeah.
2 losses, but that was how early in the season? How things have changed already in this league.
I believe the first 5 weeks they lost the two games, if I'm not mistaken.
There you go. So
Yeah.
with how far away those 2 losses were compared to where they are now, it develops so much. It's so hard. It's hard for me to imagine who in these final 4 weeks can actually tip them over.
That
Who
what I
knows?
said. That what
Right.
I said. I said the same thing. And imagine this. Imagine if they can somehow figure out a way to get Maju back on the spam build,
Yeah,
and
that's not
he's
happening.
throwing out B2s every
They
week. This
they
thing's
don't even.
unbeatable.
They don't even. If he stays on attack +1, or if he stays on the build he has right now, he's perfect. Because all he
Yeah,
needs to do is spam a super energy wave ball
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
melee, because his melee is already bad. So they don't even need to change anything. If they
Uh,
wanted to
yeah,
test, but
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, when we tried to give him any key bonus, he just ults. And his ult is just Genocide Blast, and it does the same damage as Genocide Blast. So it's a
yeah, pretty
slippery
much.
slope, I'll tell you what.
trust me,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
understand that with Nuova and
Yeah,
yeah.
with Pickle.
Nova has
Yeah,
the same
man.
ult.
If his ultimate was good, then that build would have worked. But his ultimate is pretty much just
He's
it's
trash.
trash. It's trash.
What do you guys have
It's
any
still good.
final remarks on match 4 here? You guys ready to move on to match
I,
number
I already
5?
I already I already said my piece. I told y'all not losing another match for the rest of the season. I'm saying that. I'm putting it out there.
All right.
But if they want to, be my guest. That's all
Well, we
I
have no
ask.
divisionals to lose, so hey, if we're gonna drop them, this is where we do it.
Yeah.
Alrighty then, let's move on to match number 5. With a few talking points from earlier, we have Cinema versus Royals, both now at 5 and 5 after Cinema's win. So this match had some fun spots. I would say one spot most people remember is Pilaf versus Turles to start, and Pilaf just full on taking out Turles. I don't think anybody expected him to just 100-0 Turles. Granted, he did go down a good bit himself, but hey, taking out a man is always something pleasant, and starting for first time I think we've seen this season. Uh, Gogeta, or he does tag out afterwards. Gogeta actually just completely destroys Deborah. He took Kamehameha, fused it with the Big Bang, and made it just even more destructive. So if you want to talk about Kamehameha week, he made it worse. And then he even managed to take out a few bars of Majin GG before finally going down. Fasha comes in and takes out the rest of Majin GG, and the last bar of Pilaf before tagging out to ruin Garlic's stats, leaving him with a 2-bar slug to finish off. So overall, Cinema looking like they're hitting their groove. They've certainly had a lot of ups and downs this season. Surprising Royals, I don't think anybody expected them to struggle as much as they did. It really came down to Deborah just actually eating these Big Bang Kamehamehas from like near point blank. That just really shut them down. But it was certainly an interesting match that had some fun moments. Majin Vegeta went for a Big Bang right into Big Bang Kamehameha, and it lost. So a couple of just fun highlights to check out. So Oasis, what'd you think of match number 5 here?
Well, I'm surprised that Kamehameha landed again and again. Uh, for one, to be sure, I was surprised that Cinema won because I was expecting both Modern Vegeta and Deborah were in. So I was expecting this to be a clean Royals victory. Sure, Fasha was in, and as we saw from the sweeper games, Fasha can be very scary because you can't touch her due to her, innate dodging ability, I guess. But that didn't seem to matter when she just tears people up. Well, that didn't seem, or that did seem to be the causal factor of Royals losing because of how she tears people apart. Gogeta on new build, Rush Blast 3 no less, makes me sad. Hey, it works. I can't say anything. I'm glad that hopefully I'm very hesitant to say I hope he stays on this build because it's Rush Blast 3. But I hope he continues to do well, throwing out Big Bang Kamehamehas like he did in this match.
Yeah, he was great this match. He was awesome.
True, but let's see how he goes in the next match since he likes to flip flop. Okay, Demon King Deborah. Apparently, all the Demon Kings this week like running into Kamehamehas because Demon King Piccolo taking Kamehamehas in the face from Goku, and we have Deborah here taking Kamehamehas. Gogeta doing less than 10k. a huge shutdown by Cinema, and mm, I really, I really don't have much to say here, honestly, outside of just Fasha did well, Gogeta and Rush Bars 3 did well somehow,
Well, we'll get a lot of Gogeta. He was
and
out for like the last 3 weeks, I think. So he is
mhm,
done subbing. He is here to stay.
Yeah, yeah, they're
it's
gonna
here to
use him for
stay.
the next 3 weeks, probably the next the rest of the season, probably. And they're gonna need him. They're gonna need him. Um, my thoughts on this, man. If he can maybe keep this build, which I don't think he will. But if I'm Cinema, I would strongly consider this build for the playoffs. If you guys get there, because he was impressive this week. He was great. He was great, and y'all gonna need that for the playoffs. Y'all gonna for y'all to win. Y'all gonna need Gogeta to be Gogeta. He's gonna need to be amazing for y'all to win. And I hope he is be able to keep that build. If I'm them, I will keep that in mind. Fasha was Fasha. She was great. If she can keep that up, y'all gonna win. But Turles, he dropped the ball this week, and I was stunned. I was legit stunned that Turles did what he did. He got manhandled. Um, do I think will that happen every week? No, it probably won't happen every week, but it's something to watch. Maybe Turles is Cinema's weakest link right now, or maybe Garlic Jr. One of those two are probably the weakest people on Cinema. So that's
Oh,
something to watch.
that's definitely not true, my guy.
Really?
Definitely not. No, you've seen Zengaya, right?
Zing. Oh yeah,
So it just comes
I
down
legit forgot
to
about Zengaya.
There
I
you
forgot.
go. There you go. There you
She
go.
okay. She is the worst person on the team. Well, okay.
it's really
Y-
just
Uh,
hard because technically Pilaf is a android and could just stay in Turles' face where he wants to back off, eat his fruit, charge. It got canceled a few times. There's just unfortunate things that happen. So you got to give a
I
little
think that
credit where
that was
it's
a
due.
mismatch. That
Yeah.
was a mismatch, and Royals made the perfect starting Pilaf, because Pilaf and versus Turles, it was a mismatch because Pilaf don't charge, and Turles does well against people that love to charge and not be in his face.
which is
Yeah.
why I'm very glad that Pilaf did this well. You
Hmm.
never see Pilaf do this well, except
Right.
once versus Cold.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm also very shocked that Cinema did not use Asha's sweeper build in this
No, they did.
match.
She was on her
They
Did?
did.
attack Eternal Life build. Turles was on the defense +3 with Dende's fighting spirit and um, what's it called? Launches support. So Turles
Yeah,
was
he was
on
on.
a new
I was
build,
doing
and
Foster.
Fasha was on the attack, quick fast attack, Eternal Life build with Sirius.
Yeah, that's our use for the
So
All Star.
that was the one she used in the sweeper games. So they are
Super
Oh,
going
Game
I
through
thought
with
Star.
that.
she,
Yeah.
I thought she
I'm
used
happy
defense
to
plus
use that.
2 Eternal Life quick fast attack.
Uh-uh.
I was
No, that
sure.
was they used that
Oh,
the week before sweeper.
4. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so Fasha had a new build this week. With Turles had a new build as well.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's
Oh, no,
still
no, no. I'm looking at it
variability.
right now. I'm looking at it right now, and she was on defense plus 2.
Was it? I
She
could have
Really?
was on
sworn
defense.
I could
Yeah,
have sworn she was with the attack +1 for this week.
I'm looking at it right now, my friend.
Well, nonetheless, Eternal Life seems to be back on Fasha, so that is still a big change because Turles has basically been on Eternal Life since the last 3 seasons. So
Yeah. I especially especially like whenever he was a Saiyan, we always use Eternal Life from him.
exactly.
Always.
So that's where
That's what.
they have to find something new for him, and
Hmm.
it's hard to say if it was just a bad matchup or not. I have small insight that they are going to try the build again this next week to make sure it works or not, because
Makes sense.
30k
I
is
would
not
try it
the
again.
worst. It's certainly not the
Builds.
best, but it's certainly
It's
not
not
the
the worst.
worst, especially when it
I
was
would,
almost entirely melee and they want him to spam. So hey,
yeah. Cinema, try it again, because this is exactly what happened. It was a bad matchup. Maybe you try it again. Maybe this week you don't have a bad matchup, and you're going to see the results that you were looking for. But try it again. You know, it won't hurt. Y'all won this week, so you could try it again and see maybe if this build is good for Taylor's, and if he fails again, then go back to the drawing board and see what else y'all could come up with. But that's my final thoughts.
all right. Do you have any final thoughts, Oasis? Are you ready to move on to match number 6?
I'm ready to move on.
Alrighty then, match number 6. Certainly another doozy, the second divisional of the week. We have Cold Kingdom versus Rugrats. Another match with several boost U's. For Cold Kingdom, we have Attack +1 on Metacooler and Super +1 on First Form Cooler. And Rugrats had Attack +1 on Aurelie and Cyberman, Kabito's Secret Arts on Kid Trunks, and Super +1 on Super Saiyan Goten. Want to point out Aurelie is on a new build this week, an attack-focused build, so certainly a change in her dynamic, and she started us off against Metacooler on a defense with the bonus attack. And Aurelie manages to take him out only just barely to then get absolutely destroyed by a Cooler ult. So pretty even going from here. Cooler and Cyberman tagging. Cooler tagging quite early actually at 2 bars, and Cyberman at his last bar. Kid Trunks actually takes out Frieza after a pretty long battle and tags himself. Raccoon comes in and finishes off the returning Cyberman, and then Super Saiyan Goten um, decided that Kamehameha Week needed something special and hit 2 Bros Kamehameha on Raccoon almost back to back, both for about 11k, which just melted him. And then after hitting another 1 or 2 Kamehamehas, it just kind of took him out of the fight. And then finally Goten did some more Kamehameha nonsense to finish off First Form Cooler. So in the end, Rugrats take the victory over the Cold Kingdom. I would say it was maybe not a surprising result, but a surprising way the match went. King Cold has been struggling, so this was a pretty, I think most people could have expected this lineup from Cold Kingdom. But Raccoon just kind of dropped the ball. Certainly back on his Master Throw build, went for several grabs, but unfortunately Rugrats actually just kind of ducked under them and just managed to squeam away. Probably got a bad matchup in Goten. Probably would have preferred Kid Trunks who stay in his space where Goten flew away. But in the end, a pretty decent performance by the Rugrats. Cyberman, maybe not his normal 40k week, but I think he still came in and had a fine time. And really, nobody on Cold Kingdom dropped the ball horribly. You can't really blame Raccoon the week of Kamehamehas is rough enough, but then cinematic Kamehamehas, I mean, there's just not much you can really do about it. So, Oasis, how did you feel about this second divisional here?
I felt as sad for Cold as Raccoon getting ulted twice in a row. Uh, Rugrats, Rugrats going all out on their boost. Not shocking. Aurelie starting is shocking. Aurelie doing very well is shocking too, because she's, like you said, she's on a new build with attack +2, and her melee sure isn't the fastest, doesn't hit the hardest, but it did get the job done. So maybe they'll stick to this, and maybe they'll find some more success. I'm very skeptical of the build though, because I feel like Aurelie's power or damage really is founded in her B2s, but hey, I'm probably wrong. Kid Trunks on Savior though is definitely a shock to me. I didn't expect him to ever rock Savior. I expect him to run, latent energy, fighting spirit, maybe something like that. Serious again. Savior seemed to work out. It kind of worked out. So I really do wonder why they ran Savior on him though, because sure, I get the fact that he can then use max power mode combos, he can ping pong a lot, he can use his ult. I didn't think that it would give him too much of a benefit if he truly was the last one on the field. Cold Kingdom underperforming.
Yeah,
Cooler underperformed immensely. Usually we see him doing 60k with either his ults or his B2s, sweeping the leg, and I feel like it's because of how small the Rugrats are that actually contributed to him doing less damage. I wish I can include a clip right here of Cooler doing a Darkness Eye Beam and literally Goten ducked underneath it towards Cooler and he missed it. And Cooler
Poor,
died.
poor Cooler. Poor Cooler. I mean, but you pretty much said everything I want to say. I'm not surprised at the result. I'm really not. I expected Cold Kingdom to lose here, and for the Rugrats to handle their business. But I mean, you know, for me, the Rugrats are finding that stride, and towards the end of the season, that maybe they could make a run. And this was a big match to win because now you're tied with them, and you have the tiebreaker. With how many? We got 4 weeks left, right? About 4 weeks left in the
5
season,
weeks.
or 5 weeks left in the season. That's big because if y'all end up tying, you're going to playoffs, and they're not. So that's a massive advantage for the Rugrats, and in my opinion, a must-win game for them. And they delivered. Specifically, Goten, who was awesome.
Yeah, it certainly was a highly anticipated match. I mean, as all divisionals are, you just
Yeah,
never really know till you get into it. And again, I
and
don't think either team really left much on the floor. I think both their characters kind of did what they're supposed to do.
right,
Cooler did throw out multiple ults. They just didn't all
didn't
hit.
hit.
So you could say Rugrats had that advantage with the easier dodging ability, and I think that's a part of their kit that will always be there. But I mean, a lot of
Right.
teams have natural advantages to their squads, and I mean, it just came down to who hit what, and unfortunately, Cold Kingdom threw a good chunk of B2s that just missed the
Didn't hit.
mark.
Yeah, because if those B2s hit, Gold Kingdom wins this match, especially those ultimates. If Cooler hits if Cooler hits those ultimates that he threw out, this match is over and Rugrats lose.
This is once again a prime example of what we were talking about earlier in terms of B2 users having a significant struggling significantly versus in your face high offensive meleeers and not doing well enough to carry them through the victory. Because like you both were saying, if their B2s hit, their damage would then translate probably into a win. Since they didn't hit and King and Cold Kingdom didn't really have that melee aspect to fall back on, really caused them to suffer a bit. Sure, have Mega Cooler doing melee and they have Raccoon doing melee. At the end of the day, Mega Cooler is still a tank, so this isn't really there to do damage, but to soak up damage instead. And Raccoon obliterated due to B2s. So there really wasn't a second strat, a plan B Cold Kingdom to fall back on if they missed their big damage. More and more evidence is piling up that in order to have a successful spam team, you need to have backup melee in your pocket in order to fight off the opponent.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the truth because the evidence is there as we go through the season.
Well, do you guys have any final remarks? Are you ready to move on to match number 7?
I got nothing else to say. I'm good.
Can't wait for this.
All right, match number 7, a highly anticipated match of Derp versus Hentai. Two squads certainly still trying to find their foothold in the new season. And unfortunately for Derp, Sentai brought out just enough to take the lead here. A really fun match though, Ginyu versus Kibito, still two guys who love to focus on their melee. Ginyu takes the lead over Kibito, but Jiro comes out and takes out Ginyu quite swiftly, and then goes down to about a sliver of health left in tags. The champ doing what he does best, takes out Sandman and Jace before finally going down to Saiya Woman. And then Saiya Woman against a full health Devilman and half health Jiro takes them both out, giving Sentai the win. So I know from talking with Fiora, coach of Derp, It was a strange week because Devilman was supposed to be on a spam build and did just pure melee, and it was just something that they just were completely flabbergasted by, and it absolutely destroyed kind of what they were meant to do, because he came out with Savior and basically just sat there and just punched. Um, so a little unfortunate. Hercule showing what he does best, ulting and slapping people to the next century. I know you could say Team Derp technically without Salza, who's definitely a strong character, maybe didn't come out with every intention of winning, but at the same time, I think they still put in a good effort with some good builds. Sentai Squad still trying new builds, almost I wouldn't say weekly, but they still have some people moving around. Captain Ginyu on his sweeper build, he had the attack Eternal Life build this week. So he certainly did his thing, and obviously shutting down Saiyaman like they did is always impressive, and shutting down Jace even harder was a great moment, but Saiya Woman just said, I ain't losing this week. Sorry, Dad. So, good match. I think both teams really put in some good effort. Just came down to some strange AI decisions in the end. So, Oasis, what did you think of this match?
I mean, this is one of my most anticipated matches of the season because of how these teams interact with the league. I definitely was expecting Derp to pull out here, not gonna lie, because of how flippant Base and Ginyu have been over this past season. I was definitely expecting Supreme Kai to take it over Ginyu because of sure, Ginyu has the ability to boost his melee, do a lot of damage, soak up a lot of damage with Eternal Life. But it seemed like Supreme Kai, could have spammed a bit more, could have done some more melee combos, and taken that victory. That didn't happen. When that didn't happen, I was very skeptical. I saw that's when I saw the writing on the wall. Sure, it's early in the match, but I was very skeptical. They're pulling back from that sort of not bad start. Let's just say that didn't do all that much, which is shocking. Well, not shocking. I kind of expected it because of all the build changes that have been going on with him. Hercule, like once again, I said this in our last cast. I'm going to say it again. Apparently, I just underestimate Hercule to a extreme margin because he's doing 80k, 60 80k a week, and I'm over here still shocked by it. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I should understand that Hercule was a powerhouse with 10k present bombs and 16k ults and power body in max power mode.
Yeah. My thoughts on this match was, Sentai just wanted it more. That's what I've seen it from. Like, like was stated earlier. You guys said that Sandwoman did not want to lose this match, and she didn't. She came out here and did her thing to make sure Sentai Squad won this match. The thing about this match that probably was one of my most anticipated of the week was the dynamic with Hercule and Sandwoman. I how are they going to mesh together, and then how Devilman's Devil Might Beam was going to work if he got it off. Because you got some evil people on Sentai Squad, but then you got some other people that are not evil. So what if he's like Sandwoman? How much damage is he gonna do? So I was thinking about that as well. And then how Supreme Kai is gonna do against a team like Sentai Squad. That's why this match was so anticipated for me. But you guys hit I agree with both of y'all. Sentai Squad just wanted this more, and they played better, honestly. But it was still a very, very fun match until the end, though.
It seems like Devilman's in a similar rut that you're having with Scour Vegeta. In terms of you put him on a spam build, he's not spamming.
It's the exact same thing, because I noticed that, Derp got him on this spam build, and he's just not doing as well as he did in the past. Because we knew Devilman used to be really, really scary back in the day. People were like, "Oh no, we're going up against Devilman," and especially if they had evil characters, they got scared because that Devil Might Beam was brutal. But now he's not even hitting Devil May Beam that much anymore, or anything.
Right. Like he used to, like you were saying in the past, he used to be spamming his fork rush
Right.
all the time, and then that would connect, and that would lead into fork U, and then the cycle would just repeat because of how those two B2s interacted. That's what made Devilman so scary. Since he's not doing that, and is resorting to melee, which is just not in his build pattern, that just leads to a lack of damage, and that leads to him not doing well. I truly wonder what what Derp has to do to get Devilman back in fighting form. You know?
There's certainly going to be some major testing, but to be fair with how the weeks are going now, they literally have to win every match. So whether or not they use this last few weeks for testing or use it to really push
How
for
many
some results.
games back are there from the playoffs?
Well, technically, if they win the next 5 and go 6-9, they do have a pretty good chance, but that's
Really?
still asking a lot because
Who's
that
in third
also.
place in their division?
I would have to pull it up. I do not have that up at this moment, but I
Yeah.
do know that there's certainly, it's not like impossible, but it's one of those like other teams would have to not win their matches as well as them winning
Right.
all of them. So it's
Yeah.
not out of the ballpark, but I wouldn't be surprised if we
It's
see
hard.
some major build switches here in the next few weeks because why not try some testing with what time you have left?
I mean, if I'm Derp, if you lose next week, I would just test the rest of the season because I don't think you're. I mean, if you lose next week, you're going to be 1-10. I don't think you're making the playoffs at 1-10. So I would just test for the rest of the season. If I lose next week, I would try one more time to maybe to keep winning. But if I lose, next week for sure, I'm testing.
Yeah, unfortunately, they had too many matches where they lost by like a health bar early in the
So-
season to
I know.
really pull it back now.
And it sucks. It sucks losing by one health bar. Like all you gotta do is like hit 1 or 2 B2s and you win. But you just lose right there. And that one, those losses really hurt right there. But back to Devilman, you guys think that maybe you can put him on a melee build? Try
That's
try
a hard
melee.
one.
Know about that.
I mean, what else can work?
You would never know. Maybe he goes to a defense build with all the spam stuff, so he just tries to last long. It's hard to say.
I mean, that's a good idea. Put him on a little defense, and then you give him, still let him spam his B2s, and the longer he lasts, the more B2s he maybe could throw out. That's a good test you can do in the next couple weeks. I would try that.
Yeah, maybe even Eternal Life with Super +2. It's hard to say. What do you guys
Yeah,
have
I
any
know.
final remarks on match number 7 here?
I already gave my final
answer-
remarks.
I'll answer ColeTrain's question in terms of who Derp is behind. He's in. Well, they're currently in East Kai, sorry, and the entire division is 5-5.
Yeah, so
Entire division.
Yeah, so
so
basically they would
somebody
have
has
to
to
tie
lose
someone.
4 games.
Someone
possible.
has to lose.
I
think
mean,
Derp
this
could
is
show
DBC
that
League. Anything can happen.
GT was 1-5, and now they're 5-5. So hey,
5-5. They won 4 straight.
all kinds
anything
of stuff can happen.
So like I said for Derp, my thing is if you lose next week, I would just give it up and just test from that point because especially if your division just keeps winning, because if they keep winning and they're not losing and you keep winning, you still not gonna make the playoffs because
Well,
somebody has to lose.
Off that, let's get on to match number 8 then. Because you know what? That's Team GT. The final match is Earth Defenders versus GT. So
Oh my!
certainly
Match of the week.
was.
Match of the week.
Yeah,
I love
this
it.
was a
I love
match
this
I don't
match.
think anybody could have easily predicted. I think a lot of people expected Earth Defenders to win. Not to give anything away from GT, but I mean, Earth Defenders West Kai, kind of a hard time right there. But I mean, Super
Yeah.
Baby 1 decided to say screw that and change everything to his fate. He went, I may not
Yep.
have a Kamehameha, but I'll pretend I do. So
Oh my God!
went up
Super-
against
Super
Yamcha,
Baby
2
was so
defense
good.
builds, 2 walls. and Baby takes out Yamcha, and he even, I think, might have been what you could say the turning point. Tien tagging after losing a bar, certainly not what Earth Defenders wanted. He certainly could have spammed out Baby, and instead Baby got to do even more, including transforming to Super Baby 2 and tagging with a bar left. Pan coming in and finishing base mid Goku. Mid Vegeta coming out, taking out Pan, tagging at a bar. Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta doing some damage, tagging at a bar. Baby coming in, and for one of the few times this season, we get to see the Golden Uzaro, though it is technically a Silver Ape. And he actually tags. He throws out a B2 and says, "I'm out." And Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta comes in and finishes off the last bar of Tien and Mid Vegeta to win it for GT. So certainly not what people were expecting. Mid Vegeta, a strong character, not quite performing as well. Yamcha, normally a 40 to 50k, kind of getting walled out by Baby. But to be fair, Baby Vegeta is probably Team GT's main man when it comes down to it. But it was just surprising that they three-manned Earth Defenders. Shin Shenron didn't even come onto the field. Baby was still in the back with a bar in the Ozaru form, so he was going to come out and go ape crazy. So lots of just strange things to happen, and I mean, you kind of need strange things to happen sometimes to beat a team that you're considered the underdog against. So congratulations to Grand Tour for taking this victory. Oasis, what'd you
Very
think of
impressive.
this match?
Do you think that you're spot on in terms of a lot of iffy things, a lot of luck played into this? Not to say that Grand Tour didn't prepare at all, but definitely say Grand Tour has been, as we mentioned before, building themselves back up to be a formidable force in this league, showing why GT, showing why the final arc of Dragon Ball is such a scary, scary point in DBZ history or DB history. Because here we have these powerful characters, Baby Vegeta, just going off on Earth Defenders with his high melee, with his barrage, with his energy barrage B2, and his Gala gun. Like, this man was throwing out everything he needed. He did everything he needed to do correctly, and they showed that they really wanted to win this with that stellar opening, with that stellar tagging, with stellar B2s, especially from Pan and her well-timed Kamehameha on Mikoku. I can still remember Dijima literally spelling out Kamehameha and her launching it at Miku. That's probably the highlight of the match right there. I will say though that Mid Goku has been very iffy as of late. When he hits Spirit Bomb and he hits Meteor Combination and he hits Kamehameha, he's fantastic. But his melee game has not been very strong. His accuracy has definitely been spotty as of late. So his damage will not translate into anything spectacular. Mid Vegeta getting shut down like he did, only doing 33k, is definitely an oddity. He is probably the man for Earth Defenders. Just like Baby Vegeta is the man for GT, Mid Vegeta should be doing similar things for ED versus GT. And that didn't happen. And that's what shocks me the most. Is this a fluke? Probably. And will he be doing 60k next week? Probably still. So at the end of the day, GT got their win, handedly so. But does this matter for Earth Defenders for their overall goal at playoffs? Probably not. Probably not.
I am going to say that this was the match of the week. This was the match that I was looking most forward to, but obviously besides my own match, of course, because it was a big divisional. But this delivered, and like y'all said, strange things happened. Strange things happened that helped Grand Tour win this match against the other defenders. And I always was putting them that I said at the beginning of the season that their defenders were going to be at the top as one of the best teams of the league, and they have shown that this season, being very impressive at a good 6-4. But this was a tough loss to take because some things did not pan out the way that they wanted to pan out, and some characters didn't perform like they wanted to perform. And the luck was on the Grand Tour side, and I gotta give credit to Grand Tour. Whatever they did to Baby Vegeta, you better keep that up because Baby Vegeta was he was the MVP of this match. He was the star of the match. Him and Pan was the star of this match this week, and I think they pretty much carried the hump and pretty much carried Grand Tour to the victory. And y'all said Shinron didn't even come out. He didn't even have to compete in this match. That's how dominant Grand Tour was overall in this match. And I was stunned by that because I picked Earth Defenders to win. I thought that they were going to beat Grand Tour. Nothing against Grand Tour. Grand Tour is a great team, but I thought Earth Defenders was better, and I thought that they were going to take care of their business, but they didn't because of some underwhelming performances and Grand Tour just having a great week from Baby Vegeta and a great week from Pan. If they can keep Baby Vegeta and Pan where they had them, and those two can keep up what they were doing from this week, Grand Tour is going to have a very, very impressive playoff run, and very, very impressive end to their season.
Certainly, as a brand new team with a lot of untested characters or characters that have mostly been free agents, so lightly tested, have a lot to prove.
Right, and they're doing a good job for their first season, 5-5. That's pretty good right now.
Good way to start. Well, do you guys have any final remarks before moving on?
Question: has GT and Cinema faced off yet?
I believe they have. I would have to look it up. We'll see when I pull up. I do have the schedule on here later.
Yeah, the schedule's one of the last things that we're going to talk about.
Okay,
So
that
I cannot check it at this moment, as that would push us a little around.
Yeah, GT and Cinema. If they face off, that's going to be a match to watch. That's going to be really, really good.
I'm pretty sure they already did. If I remember correctly, Cinema's 4 of their last 5 matches are all of Weskai and then Android. So I'm pretty sure they already did face.
Yeah. I think they did too.
Alrighty then. Well, we have a new segment this week. We do not quite have the same. We were unable to get a hold of a tier list, but we did get a hold of what Raymundo has been posting the last few weeks, which is a snapshot in time. If you were to go straight into playoffs based off the results of right now, this is what it would look like. Grand Tour with their victories. I believe they did beat Cinema, and they might have beat Muscle in the divisional, so they would be at the top for their division. Budokai at the top of theirs, Rugrats the top of theirs, and Bujins at the top of theirs. So would be an interesting one to see. I mean, certainly some crazy stuff to see Androids and Royals duking it out to fight Budokai, Muscle and Cinema to take on Grand Tour, Cold Kingdom and Resurrected Warriors to take on Rugrats, and Namek and Hybrids to take on Bujins. Granted, this is a snapshot in time, and some of these teams still have divisionals to do and much more. But certainly fun to theorize. Obviously, even some of the teams that aren't here have a chance. Maybe besides Derp having some extreme good luck, but just about every other team is within a few wins. I mean, Sentai certainly still in it as well at 3-7, tied with Resurrected Warriors, are certainly very much in it to make it.
I mean, if this is the playoffs right now, this is very, very good. Like, I cannot wait for every single match. Like, every single thing has something to look forward to in every single match right now. Especially that Namek and Hybrids one. I mean, I think I said that right. Hybrids. I think I can't say that.
Yes,
name. But that would probably be one of my favorites. Of the if this was the playoffs right now, this looks really good.
I mean, looking over at East Kai, them being all 5-5, about as even
Right.
as you can get, that would be a pretty intense one. I mean, really, all of them
Any, 'cause-
have
yeah, really all of them.
insanely close scores, including the teams that are in fourth place are very much just barely off the screen here. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
chances and a lot of variability. And really, you couldn't quite say who takes the top spot. I mean, there's a lot that could go down. Boojans have a notoriously bad record when going against Rugrats. So if they were to go up against them here in the final, they may have won in the season, but that doesn't mean they're going to win here.
When
So
here, because playoffs are a whole different thing, because now you got to add in an extra character.
yeah, there's
That's
a
an extra
lot of
build now.
variability.
Right. So and then look at this. Boojans have the first part right now. If they lose the next 2 weeks and Namek wins, Namek's in first place now. So things could change very quickly from week to week.
Yeah, it'll be
Nothing's final.
interesting to keep up with this as the weeks go on. Did you have
Yeah.
anything you wanted to add, Oasis, on this?
Outside of the fact that I'm very shocked at how this league has turned out. For its first run through, see how close every single division is. There's by one win, all tied up, maybe 2 wins at best. Outside of the last slot, this league has been very accurate in terms of putting people in the correct groupings, power groupings.
Divisions
There's
and such, yeah.
Exactly. Like, there's not a single division where I would say, oh, this team is well out of the league of this other team. So they should, like, why were they put in the same division as this team, And this illustration really shows this off because, like, you have East Kai going 5-5, you have West Kai all within the win of each other. All these other Kais showing off that even though that one team in each Kai was randomly selected, like, the way that these divisions were put together were very well done and have resulted in fierce competition.
Yeah.
So, which we'll see continue in the third trimester of the league. So,
Yeah, certainly.
I have to give credit to the staff that put these divisions together and all the supporters and coaches. You guys did a great job with these divisions, integrating the new teams and putting them where they needed to be at. And with the existing teams that came from the previous seasons with the new names, and I gotta give a shout out to all y'all. Y'all did a fantastic job with this because this season has been very, very amazing, and I'm just loving to see how everything's playing out. And like you said, the divisions are just perfect. They're structured perfect, and you see how close every single division is. Like, anybody can be in first in the next 2-3 weeks. That's how close it is.
Well, shall we get moving on to the power rankings then?
Yes, let's go.
Alrighty then, so we did keep the power ranking slot this week done by our lovely Oasis. Round of applause for Oasis. That's enough. So, certainly more than a few changes. Did not have a week 9 power rankings due to some stuff going on with Macho and his classes. As always, everybody doing this is volunteering, even us here in Capsule Cast. So we do not force it upon people, but we will do our best to try to keep things that are interesting for those that are watching. So
Yeah.
please leave a comment on stuff you like or dislike, and we will try to adjust accordingly. But certainly a lot of mobility here. Cinema jumping up a good bit. I know the bottom of the league still about the same 5 teams. Surprisingly, GT still a little lower. They are still on their comeback streak. Wouldn't be surprised to see them jumping up in that top 5 at some point if they keep going what they're doing. And even with the Lost Royals, still a terrifying team. Obviously, getting 2 different elite members keeps you up pretty high. And even the top 3 there are quite scary. So lots of good stuff going on. I think there's high variability
I was surprised
still.
that Earth Defenders didn't fall to 4, and Namek didn't move up this week because of how Earth Defenders lost this week.
I mean, it'll really be decisive with their divisional this next week.
True. I mean, I'll explain why this week they didn't fall off. It's because of the fact that Sure, they lost handily to GT. But at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, still have 4 out of the 5 characters are still very consistent.
Right.
On the other hand, Namek has only at best 3.
3.
To be
Yeah.
fair,
Right.
so regardless of the victory regardless of the victory or the loss here, I believe that at the end of the day, if the team has more consistent characters that can carry the win, it should probably be high
Mhm.
up in the power rankings because they're stronger due to consistency. So, ED over
Yeah.
Namek makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I'm not mad at this Power Rankings at all. I think it's perfect for right now, and we'll see what happens next week with all the divisionals. Like you said, Earth Defense have a divisional right next week, so we'll see if they move up with a win, and we'll see if they go down if they lose again. So
Yeah, we have 2 divisionals next week, so it'll be a interesting week. So, you guys ready
indeed,
to get on to that, the prediction
yes.
segment?
Oh yes, predictions. Let's do it.
All right, let's
I
get this
will say that
snapping out. So, updated schedule on here for week 10, moving on to week 11. Match number 1, we have Resurrected Warriors versus GT. Gonna have to give this to GT. I think they're just looking very strong and consistent. I think Resurrected Warriors will put up a very good fight, but they are still in their kind of lower point right now in the league.
Okay, who's coming in for GT? That's my question. Who
GT
do you think
Goku,
will
their
GT
super
good?
melee monster with
Um.
Kamehameha.
Oh,
Oh boy.
okay, yeah, GT. GT.
All right, and
You
ColeTrain.
just sealed the deal right there with Kamehameha. Oh my god.
I'm I'm going GT. They've been on fire the last few weeks. I don't see them losing right now, and I think that they finally found their stride at the right time. I think Resurrected Warriors gonna make it close. The This one's gonna be a fight,
Yeah, they
but
have Ader coming back, so they will have
yeah,
Android synergy on the field, but
right,
being
right.
that they don't really have I think they only have, yeah, Resurrected Warriors have a few, they have 2 different divisionals, so this could be an 18 out week just because they need her out. So, will be interesting to see, but 3-0 GT for now. So,
Yeah,
match number 2, we have Royals versus Sentai, with Mecha coming back in and looking to make a comeback, and Sentai still having a little bit of issues, showing Sandman maybe not, or faltering little consistency, Jay still being rough, but Birder coming in. I think this is going to be a pretty good fight, but I think I might have to give the slight edge to Royals. I think they just, even though Deborah kind of faltered this last week, he's still Demon King Deborah, and with Mecha Frieza coming in, it is going to be a little tense for Sentai.
Personally speaking, I think Sentai will take it. If Sentai can build upon what Cinema did this week and put it into their game plan in week 11, I think Sentai has it by a mile, especially since I do believe Deborah or like either the two, Majin Vegeta or Deborah, will be benched this week. So one of their powerhouses will be out. That being said, Sentai has very strong powerhouses of their own. They'll be bringing into this fight. Burger, sure, isn't the most consistent character, but when he is very dependable. So I'm willing to give Sentai.
All right, ColeTrain tiebreaker.
ooh, this is interesting. Um, I would love for Royals to take the L. Um, but I don't know if they're going to. But for me, I guess I'm gonna pick Sentai to win because I'm because I think that Sentai is gonna find a way to win this match and take down Royals. And like he said from the same points from earlier, build off of what happened with Cinema, and adapt and maybe get the victory here this week. I'm going Sentai.
All right, so we got 2 for Sentai, 1 for Royals. Will certainly be a fun match to watch. Good start to the week
Yes.
so far. Moving on to match number 3, we have Androids versus Rugrats. Androids coming off frustrating loss, Rugrats coming off a pretty strong win. I think Rugrats will take it. I think even their problem child of Cell Jr. has been getting better as the season's gone on, and they will certainly have a fun time. I know 19 is solid and coming back, but with the new set of weeks, it's hard to say if who's going to be out 100%. But I would have to give the slight edge to Rugrats here.
I would definitely say androids have this in the bag because 19 is coming back in. And if you're to compare the problem children between 19, 17, take your pick, and so Junior, I still think androids will have a better squad over Rugrats. And regardless of who they bench here, 16 or Cell, maybe even 17, I still think Rugrats will have a tough time without either Goten or Trunks or really putting in the extra work. So
I'm going Androids. I think they bounce back this week. Again, 19's coming back. So I don't think that Android 17 blunder is going to happen again because I think he's going to be benched, maybe. We'll see. But yeah, I'm going Androids to win this because they were impressive this week. But the only issue was Android 17 that pretty much cost them the match. So if 19's coming back, he's more consistent than 17. They're gonna run with Rugrats mostly because Rugrats are gonna have to bench Goten, Trunks, or Aurelie, and in my honest opinion, I think you need one of those three to fight for you to have a chance. If one of them are benched, you're gonna struggle. So
Yeah, it'll certainly be an interesting match to see as well. So, two androids, one Rugrats. Another kind of split, but mostly slide slide. Moving on to match number 4, our first divisional of the week, Namek versus Earth Defenders. I'd have to give it to Namek, not just because Nuova's coming back and all, but it feels like Earth Defenders have been losing their grip on some of their characters, even some of their more consistent guys like In Vegeta and, or I'm sorry, Mid Vegeta and Tien have just been kind of faltering in doing the performances needed to keep the wins, especially against a tough opponent like Namek. And we know there are going to be at least whatever boosts can be scraped out at this point. So I'm going to have to give the slight edge to Namek here.
personally, I give the edge to ED, literally because of your exact reasoning, regard, but flipped in reverse for Namek. I feel like we're losing control on all of our characters except for Tambourine and Nuova. Nail, I guess. King Piccolo and Late Piccolo not showing up when they are supposed to have really caused us to lose our identity of where we're going in this league. So that uncertainty versus, the amount of burst potential damage that can come out of ED makes me really worried and has ED favored.
All right, ColeTrain, another tiebreaker.
all right, so I'm going Earth Defenders to win. Um, I think they bounced back from the blunder that happened this week, but I think this might be the closest match of the week. I think it might come down to the last two characters, which I think ED's gonna pull it out and win it. That's my prediction.
All
Thanks,
right.
bro.
Well, we have 2-1 for Earth Defenders, but being a divisional and both teams being teams that have used boosts in the past, it can certainly go either way quite quickly. So, moving on to match number 5, the second divisional, back to back, no time to breathe this time. We will have
Oh boy.
Muscle versus Derp. Um, Maybe not as exciting for some people. I think Derp really have a lot to prove here. This could be the start of their comeback. But unfortunately, if I had to look at it from a logistical standpoint, I'd have to give it to Muscle. Super Trunks and Broly have just been on a roll, popping people left and right, and they're both definitely going to be in for this match, and probably with some boosts as well with whatever Zenny they have left. So I'm going to have to give the edge to Muscle here. Also, there will be Raditz Jr. on the field.
I give it to Muscle as well. Derp has just been a bit too inconsistent for my taste over the past 10 weeks. Muscle has only continued to show off the power that they have. I do believe Muscle will have this.
I'm going Muscle as well. I love Derp. I love the characters and stuff like that. But I think this might be the nail in your coffin for your season, guys. So like I said earlier, like I said, well, I think y'all gonna lose this match, and y'all should just start testing stuff after this week. So muscle for the win.
So we got one of the first 3 O's we have, besides match number 1 for Muscle here. But being a divisional, anything can happen, and Muscle's
Right.
certainly an evil team. So if Devilman were to throw Devil Might beams, this would be the week. So moving on
You
to
better.
match, yeah, moving on to match number 6, we have Kaiju versus Cold. Certainly going to be a interesting one as well. Cold's been a little slump. Kaiju hitting a little bit of a rhythm. Um, going to be kind of a hard one to really predict. I would have to give the slight edge to Kaiju with Bardock doing more than just getting online, but becoming 2 characters in one at the moment. He's going to be a tough cookie to crumble. Nappa Kappa still being extremely consistent, and even with Raditz not being as troublesome as he was, and Cold Kingdom struggling with King Cold at the moment, and even third form Frieza to do more than just heal, it's going to be a little bit of a tough time, and it's on Kaiju's home map, so I'm going to give the advantage to Kaiju.
Hey, ColeTrain question.
What's up?
Is Bardock in or not?
More than yeah, Bardock's yeah he's playing this week. Yeah,
I bet Kaju's got it.
definitely.
Kaju's got it.
Said and done. Coltrane, do we even need to
And
ask you?
You don't have to ask me. You already know that. You already know I'm gonna go with Kaiju. We gotta win. It this the next few weeks are must wins. Like there's
Yeah,
no
you
ifs,
have
ands, or
2
buts about it.
divisionals as well, so yeah, must wins are certainly in the name here. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
gonna be a hard time to make some subs here too.
right, yeah, because next week we got Budokai after this.
And
So
then the
yeah,
next week Royals, so
well yeah. So
Bardock's got a
our
busy
divisionals
plate for
are
a little bit.
yeah, our divisions are next week. So like I said, we need to take every win we can get. Like I said, Bardock's probably gonna. I've talked with the team today. Yeah, Bardock's probably gonna be in. So yeah, Kaiju.
Alrighty then, another landslide, 3-0, Kaiju versus Cold, but Cold are certainly not a team to scoff at. So, moving
Right.
on to match number 7, we have Hybrids versus Cinema. Um, I'm actually going to give this one to Hybrids. I don't think they're that far off of getting Future and Teen back online. Might have just been a misstep. Kid Gohan is actually a beast, and if he comes back in and does what he's done before, it'll be kind of hard for Cinema because if they have Zangief coming in, I mean, that's just kind of as it is. And Cinema are facing all 4 of Weskai and Androids for their final 4 weeks. So you can't really say that they have easy subs to do here because they basically have to get everything perfect. So I'm going to have to give the slight edge to Hybrids here.
I would definitely agree. Hybrids have too much of an edge in terms of just potential. Sure, they had a bit of a misstep versus Russell this week. But with the fact that they have the ability to just do 90k out the blue, 90k, 100k out the blue with just 2 characters, it's definitely not hard to believe that they won't do the same thing here versus Cinema. All 4. I mean, if there's enough damage on board, that is. So, Hybrids got this.
Hybrids. I think that Cinema's probably gonna save their best for last.
I
Honestly,
don't
because
know.
they have.
Last week is Bujin, so maybe they put it all on the line here.
I hope so.
Well, I hope so. I mean, maybe, but we'll see what they do because they do have divisionals coming up. But I still think that Hybrids is gonna take this one, and Cinema's gonna lose.
As a slight correction, they are actually done with divisionals. They simply need to rack up as many wins. Androids are not in their division, and all the other matches are Weskai. So, yeah, this is going to be a rough one. They're going to need some serious Broly combos to keep them in this match against Hybrids here.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, the only way I see Cinema winning is if Broly's amazing, then they have a chance. But I don't know.
I mean, Garlic
like
has gone
after-
elite, so they have some hidden potential.
Right. But do you think Garlic can keep that up for weeks at a time?
Yeah,
You know,
we will
keep
have
keep
to
them
we will
breathless.
have
You
to
know,
see. So
we'll see.
pretty big 3-0 for hybrids here. Moving on to the final match, we have Budokai versus Bujins, the B squad names, as you could say. Obviously, as a Bujin supporter, I'm to give it to Bujins. I'd say Budokai certainly have a lot of nice things going for them, but they are also in the spot with the highest chance to lose, which is home on match 8. Which only one team has managed to win from there. So they've got a lot going against them,
Mm.
both physically and metaphysically. So I would have to give it to obviously my own squad here.
As you can guess, I have personal reasons. I hope Budokai wins. And honest, well, nah, never mind. Bujins are probably going to win it. I'm not even going to try to get my hopes up. I want to see Budokai complete their circuit of the West Kai teams and beat all three, well, all four teams, I guess. But hopefully they can pull out a stunning victory here versus Bujins. Is I very likely no, because Bujins are overpowered and broken. So Bujins got this.
Yeah, Bujins. I already told y'all earlier. I meant what I said. Bujins are not losing a single match for the rest of the season. I meant what I said. They're going to wrap up and win every single game for the rest of the season. They're just way too good. And we talked about this earlier, that they can play both the melee game and the B2 game. This team is going to be very, very hard to beat in the playoffs. I wish everybody luck who has to fight them in the playoffs. But
I
I think they're going to pretty much just wrap up and just beat every single team for the rest of the season. And they're only going to lose 2 times this season. I meant what I said.
Well, overall, I would so 3-0 for Bujins, but I would say Week 11 is looking to be a really fun week. I think a lot of these teams have matched up in very comparable matchups, even with the divisionals. So it will certainly be a lot of fun to check out Week 11 live. And remember, you can do so in the Discord. We have watch parties in the general chat and discussions going on week round. So always feel free to jump in, join in, and enjoy the conversation. ColeTrain
Indeed.
is always looking for more people to join his team. Same with Oasis on Team Namek. So
Yes, you can always become a Kaiju supporter and join us. We believe that we will make the playoffs this season. But hey, if we don't, we don't. We'll be back and stronger next season, and you can help us get ready for next season or join now and help us. Maybe make that playoff push. And always you can join Oasis team as well. So
and there's
yeah.
other teams to
Um,
join as well.
and then yeah, there's other teams, like Derp. You can maybe help rebuild them into a powerhouse again, or you can join GT and plenty of others, even Bujins. Join them too. You know. But
Yo,
yeah, I will
still,
be in the little live chat thingy and the watch party this week. So y'all want to come to and join Discord and hang out and talk with me, I'll be in there. So yeah.
Do you have any
That's
final
about it.
remarks then, Oasis?
outside of Bujins being broken and Namek is doing just fine.
Alrighty then.
Yeah.
Well, that has been week 10 of the Capsule Cast. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please, again, check out the description for all of the resources, including the Discord and the website, and leave a comment on what you like or didn't like. And that is it for this week. Talk to you guys next time.
See ya.
Take care.